We're proud to welcome to our live line this morning former President George W. Bush.
George H.W. Bush, as a matter of fact. Mr. President, welcome to the show.
Who's this, John?
This is John.
And that was Melanie we just heard?
That was Melanie.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning. I just want to wish you well on this new show.
Well, thank you, and it is our pleasure to have you, sir, as our first major guest.
Oh, my golly, I didn't realize I was first.
Oh,
You are first at so many things, Mr. President. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I understand you had a blast, so to speak, this weekend. It was pretty fun, huh?
It was a very emotional weekend for me. The parachute jump with the Golden Knights, who are the best in the world, was the icing on the cake. But we had all our family here, a wonderful family reunion around the house, around the dining room table, and then Barbara put on a surprise party, which was really a surprise. I didn't think that kind of thing could happen anymore. And it was wonderful. So I'm now kind of relaxing and thinking good thoughts about everything that's gone before and then about my own very happy life.
I have to ask you, what did it feel like at 85 years of age to be jumping out of an airplane? I know it's not the first time for you.
No, I think it was the seventh jump, altogether. And this time was a little scarier because I couldn't move my feet as well. And the guy said, "Pick your feet up, we're going out." And but I was strapped onto this wonderful, wonderful Golden Knight. And Mike has done many of these jumps, so it wasn't really scary. But once we were in the air, free falling, I was strapped onto him, and he's such a career professional that I didn't worry about it. And popped my ears, which I hadn't done on earlier ones. And then just after he pulled the ripcord, we just floated majestically down to the little church right next where my mom and dad had been married. So it was nostalgia all the way.
That's going to make me cry. Oh, my gosh. That is so wonderful.
Mr. Bush, if we could switch gears, some serious breaking news this morning. In fact, the last time we saw people on the streets of Iran like we see today, you and Ronald Reagan were running for the White House. Can you give us your assessment of the Iranian elections over the weekend? And does this look like a rigged election?
Well, I don't know enough about it anymore. You should be asking President 43, who was here with us, but he's not here this minute. And I just haven't kept up, haven't kept up with the intelligence. But I think it sounded funny when the opponent claimed victory by 60-some%. And the next thing you know, he's on his back, counted out. So there's something weird about it, something strange about it. But they ought to just get to the bottom of it and without emotion go forward and see if there's anything that can be done from outside without inflaming tensions. We don't need to inflame tensions with Iran. We don't need to, threaten military or anything like that.
You were director of the CIA in the 1970s, Mr. President. What do you make of Obama's CIA director today, Leon Panetta, saying it's almost as if former Vice President Dick Cheney would like to see another attack on the United States to prove he's right in criticizing President Barack Obama for abandoning the harsh interrogation of terrorism suspects?
Well, I hadn't heard about that. We're way up here sitting by the seashore, so I hadn't heard it. I have a very high regard for Leon Panetta, and of course I have a very high regard for Dick Cheney, so put it this way, maybe I don't have a dog in that fight.
Let's turn to the Supreme Court. In 1991, Mr. President, you nominated Sonia Sotomayor to a seat on the U.S. District Court in New York, and now she's been tapped by President Obama to sit on the Supreme Court to replace David Souter, a justice that you nominated. What do you think, first of all, of Sonia Sotomayor?
Well, I don't know much about her. I mean, I nominated her to the District Court. In those days, the decision was made by the senators. Moynihan was her rabbi, you might say, or her guru. Mm-hmm. And D'Amato was screened these district judges for me. Mm-hmm. But, my view there is John Cornyn is correct. Have fair hearings. Don't have a lot of radical statements about the woman before she has a chance to give her side of stuff. Examine her record carefully, and then have an up or down vote, and then let's get on with it. But this hyper speculation I don't think really adds to anything. So my view is give the woman a chance, and if she's got what it takes to be on the court, fine. Let's our people vote for her.
Yeah.
If they find she doesn't, too bad.
One of the controversial things in those records that you want people to examine first is her assertion that in the Court of Appeals, that's where, and these are her words, where policy is made. So we will see if that comes back to haunt her.
Context of the remark, but I don't think policy should be made in the appeals courts.
Mr. Bush, President Bush, I know that you are so proud of every single one of your family members, the non-presidents as well as the presidents. But you have to sit back and wonder as a dad. I think about this from time to time with my own kids. When they're unfairly attacked, and I think that your son, President Bush, has been unfairly attacked, and this unreasonable blame game has gone on, played by the anti-war left in this country. Do you ever worry about his legacy and how that's going to be affected?
No, I don't, because I think that, and I am concerned about the continuing attacks. I don't like the way the administration keeps making unfavorable references to the 43rd president. But I'll tell you this, history has a way of sorting these things out, and I think he's conducting himself with great honor. He's not in there criticizing the president all the time, carping away at him, and I'm very proud of the way he's handling it. And again, I think history is going to sort out the things he may have screwed up and sort out the things he got right. And I think the agenda is going to be very positive, and I think history will treat him very, very well. Because after all, after 9/11, the country has been safe, and a lot of that is because of the way the administration conducted itself.
I agree with you. During your son's administration, our country was never attacked, and that and that is an important thing. But I just have to say that a lot of people are wondering whether or not we got, if President Bush got tagged for the start of the TARP funding and how that's kind of unraveled the economy a little bit.
Well, I don't know. Let history determine that, too. You know, I'll tell you something, Melanie. I don't follow the details. I don't follow the legislation. Hey, I'm 85 years old. I just want to be surrounded by family love and go out in my boat and try to help where I can.
How's the sailing?
Huh?
How's sailing going? How is it? How's the weather today?
Sailing for me is going very fast in a fountain speedboat, and I love it. I can still do that. I can't play golf. I can't play tennis. I can't even play horseshoes, all of which I loved as a younger guy. But I can go in this boat, and I just love it. And it's very fast and very seaworthy, and I love taking people out. So if you're ever up this way, you're in.
Can I come? I'd love to.
Yeah, sure.
I just brashly invited myself onto your, what is it, a cigarette boat that you drive?
It's a cigarette's kind of the generic name, but it's a fountain. Reggie Fountain makes.
By the way, I did notice that there was a CNN reporter who was flirting with you, Mr. President, honestly.
I wouldn't call it flirting exactly, but we did jump out of the plane at the same time, and she was very nice.
All right.
Nice.
Former President George H.W. Bush, I'm coming up to go fishing with you. I've been fished with you since '82 in Glacier National Park, Montana, so we appreciate you being with us today.
Fishing jaunt. Which one were you?
We were out there with Alan Simpson. Remember, we were fly fishing in Glacier Park.
I remember the event well.
Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah, great man.
I can still fish, and we still catch stripers up here, and so life is very good, and I just wish you all the best of luck.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Former President George H.W. Bush, we appreciate you being with us. For Melanie Morgan, I'm John McCaslin. This is America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks. Stay tuned. We're coming back.